Shannon. Now this is podcasting.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of your favorite podcast, Work Hard. We are here to enlighten your life, to brighten your life, to revolutionize your life. We are here to take you from a pagan dog to the beautiful, regenerate state of Christianity that the Lord has to offer. I'm just kidding. Jason and I are Calvinists. That's the Lord's job. It is not our job to take you anywhere.
Preach.
But that being said, you have chosen to listen to the Work Hard podcast presented by Jason and I's digital broadcast company, Hyper Premium, which was born in the mind's eye of what I might suggest may be the most brilliant writer of our era, me. You have the privilege of. All right, I'm done. I'm over it. I'll abandon that bit.
I like how you abandon your bits partway through.
They just get boring, and also I run out of gas
Because you're a writer.
Yeah, I get bored.
Well, I just mean you got to do it in small
that's true.
small sections.
Yeah.
If you were writing, you could come back and that would be a complete paragraph.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we should just pause and when I'm in the middle of a bit like that and let me finish it up.
Alas, it is not to be this time.
Nope. Sorry, guys. If you thought that was funny, you can get more the next time we start recording because that's about the only time I do that. But
Or go back to the previous 60-odd episodes and listen to those.
yeah, baby.
Which you guys have been doing. Those views have been going up.
Give
the
us your
downloads for the old episodes.
Sweet attention. I want your attention. Hello, Jason.
Hello, Ethan.
How's it going, dude? What's going on with you?
It's a pretty good day.
It is.
Warm today.
It is.
It's in the 70s.
It is.
Nice clear sky.
They are.
Light breeze.
Light.
With the sounds of industry in the background.
Yes, I have two Mexican men building a half of a house for me.
Perfect.
Yes.
And it's not because Mexicans don't know how to build a whole house. It's because Ethan already has half a house.
Yep. I just needed the other half.
Yeah.
And so I just went and found a couple Mexicans and I said, guys,
Build me half a house, guys.
I know you can do it.
And they say, sí.
They said, sí, yes, sir.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
going.
I build you a house, yes.
I do this, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Case? Oh, yes, see. Well, how big? Oh, poquita. It's little. Yes, that's right. It is little. Now, don't tell everybody that. That's private information, that it's little. Okay? Keep that to yourself. He says, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I no tell anybody.
Yeah, I did. When we, the first time that they were here, we were gone. So they showed up one morning and they were gone. So we came home, whenever I got situated, and then I left my office, came out there to talk to them, see what's good. Mm-hmm. And I walked up to the first one of them that I saw, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he just hit me with this straight up, "Do not understand what you just said." Like stare, just
Nothing.
Just straight up stare. Like he's got a microwave in his hands that he just like pulled out of the truck. They're plugging it up to like microwave his burritos. Foil on, by the way, which is I think is so like that's awesome. Just straight up don't care. Foil on, throw it in the microwave. Cooks it faster.
Cooks it.
The ozone tastes good.
See, cook very good.
Yeah, so faster, sort of. Yes, you go quick. You get caliente, it's hot. So I walked up and said, "What's up, bro?" Hit me with the straight up, no idea what you just said. So I just
cool. Next one.
I just didn't. I just pointed at the next one. I went, "Jefe," and he goes, "See," and I went, "All right, great, thank you," and walked over to the.
Bueno.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Good little interaction there. I am a fan of the Mexican people. They did teach me how to fight, so I am
Forever indebted.
Forever indebted. Shout out to the hombres, dude. To the cholos. And whatever. All right. I'm banning that one too.
Moving right
along, baby. We are, we're just excited, I think. We're just excited. It's an exciting time.
Mm-hmm.
Things
are happening.
My wife's getting a dishwasher for the first time in 3 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be big. Her job is going to go from full-time dishwasher to full-time homemaker. She's been a full-time dishwasher, part-time homemaker for 3 years.
Does that mean you're like having another kid? Is that what you mean by a dishwasher?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting a dishwasher.
Your dishwasher is getting a dishwasher?
Yeah, no, we're getting an actual, my dishwasher's getting an assistant.
It's a mini-me.
Yeah. No, we're getting an actual dishwasher that has electricity running to it, and it washes dishes.
Oh, a machine. Got it.
Yeah.
I'm tracking now.
Now you're tracking.
So we don't have electricity at my house. I just assumed that you meant
Yeah,
another
you
human
just
being.
have like a hand pump.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the...
Everything's gravity fed or hauled from the stream.
Yeah.
My children have very strong shoulders.
Yeah, they do actually. Did I ever tell you about the hazing technique that one of the fraternities on my campus used that we all thought was so fantastic? But it wasn't our fraternity, but it was another one.
Oh, I don't think I've heard this one.
They would. So it's like kind of a traditional thing for each chapter, each house to like have like an item or something that's like passed down that's been in the house forever.
Okay.
And ours was a brick.
Okay.
But this fraternity had a like very old, probably Civil War era hand crank lamp, like electric hand crank lamp.
Oh, cool.
And it still worked.
Wow.
Yeah. And
they don't make them like they used to.
They don't. One of the things that they would, and I don't remember what this was for. I don't remember if it was like punishment for messing up or whatever, but one of the things that they would make the pledges do is take that lamp and a partner and 1,000-piece puzzle into a closet.
Oh my god!
And they had to assemble the puzzle
by hand cranking.
By hand cranking the lamp. And my buddy who had to do it once when he was a pledge told me that it's not like you charge it and then let it go.
It has to be continuous.
It has to be continually rotated, and it's like all rusty and old and like in pot, and it's like, and it's almost no light comes from it. So you're like holding the puzzle pieces like up to it like so gingerly, and there's no space in the closet, and there's no space for
How long did this take him?
He said it took him, I think they said they slept in the closet.
They weren't allowed to come out?
No, you can't,
For bathroom or anything?
No, you just hold it.
No.
Yeah, they just slide beef jerky under the door.
Holy moly.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm sure eventually they'd let you out, like if you didn't.
You're like, I'm going to wet the floor.
And you could also just tap out. Like in pledgeship, you can always just say, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And they would just be like, all right. But that's weak. That's soft business, dude. You don't give up like that. You got to prove you can do it.
Yeah.
So,
this is the way of men.
Yeah. So at any time, they're not being held hostage, But
I didn't think that. I just meant it sucked to have to.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it sucked.
Not pee for that
terribly.
amount of time.
Yeah, dude. Nothing
makes me more frustrated than trying to do a task in a cramped area while having to pee.
Oh my gosh, dude! And
in attics,
you're like trying to crank this thing that's like, and he said it's super hard to crank, so you get tired quickly, and it's not like they said it takes forever. Most pledges apparently don't get it done.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah.
1,000-piece puzzle is not something to tackle.
It's hours
anyway.
Yeah, it's hours on the living room floor with perfect lighting
and other people.
Yeah, and other people. There's just one guy cranking, one guy doing the puzzle.
Unless you're some sort of like Rain Man.
Yeah.
Autistic puzzle
man
who's just like, yeah, I ordered them all according to number and within a couple seconds of looking at them.
I have a spreadsheet. Yeah. So that's a fun little anecdote.
Wow.
For you guys. There you go. That's a fun story. I like the hazing stories. They're some of my favorite, dude. There's another fraternity which I won't name because this is very cruel to do. But and it wasn't us. But there was a fraternity that I knew of who I knew somebody that went through this where they would collect dip spit for weeks from the brothers. Yeah. And then they would take a jack-o'-lantern, like a pumpkin that they hollowed out, and they would put a stick of butter at the bottom of it and cover it and pour all the dip spit in there and fill the jack-o'-lantern. I'm going to gag saying this. And for the last thing you had to do during Hell Week to get initiated, one of your brothers had to eat the stick of butter.
Oh, okay. Not the spit itself.
Yeah, I don't know about the spit, but I mean, you have to reach into a thing full of spit. Pull out a stick of butter and eat it.
I was imagining drinking the spit, which
that happens. Yeah, that's
but a jack-o'-lantern.
That's one of those things you don't actually drink any spit.
Okay.
Like somebody hands you a cup of dip spits, like drink this. The second you smell their breath in the cup, you're gonna throw up.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's no there. You never actually drink any spit. But he said dude, this is crazy. Episode 2, just getting texts. Okay. I don't know why. My Do Not Disturb is on. Modern phones are fantastic. My boy said that that they had just gotten through with whatever they were doing or whatever, and then they realized what was happening. And one of them was like, all right, we have to do this, whatever. The brother's like, you have to do this. This is what's going to happen. This has to happen. And one of his pledge brothers just stood up and was like, I'll do it. And just walked over, no hesitation, reached in, grabbed it, and just swallowed it. Like the whole thing, no problem. Just took it. And they were just like, yeah! And it was just over.
Hero.
Yeah. Crazy.
Hero or idiot, you decide.
Hero or idiot, you decide. Yeah, I think the guys will go hero, girls will go idiot.
Yeah. One of you married him.
Yeah, one of you married him, and I bet that guy makes $1 million a year, dude.
He is a go-getter.
Yeah. All right, guys. Should we rotate ever so gingerly into the between the couch cushions? Guys, this is the segment of the show that you most crave. I know it. And I know that every time Jason and I give you a recommendation, you immediately consume that media that week. It's so valuable. It's such a strong recommendation that you love so dearly.
And if you're 10 and you comment on the episode,
yeah, if you're 10 and you comment on the episode, and then you tell us about it on Sunday.
Yeah. More of you should comment on the episode.
Yes, please. Also, if you're 10 and you start reading the book, and then you call me every 3 days to tell me about what you think about the most recent chapter you read. Dude, he hasn't called me in a couple. Dang, dude, that's sad. Tanner, why haven't you been calling me, bro? I know I didn't answer your last 3 calls, but that doesn't mean I don't want you to call me. Yes, between the couch cushions. This is the sort of the old stuff, the good stuff back in the day that might be old enough for people who've forgotten about, or maybe you're young enough that you've never even heard of it. And so we call it between the couch cushions because it's like, it fell between the couch cushions.
Yeah,
and
things get lost down there.
Yeah.
And you discover it years later when you're cleaning the couch.
Yeah, and you went, oh man, that's awesome. I'm going to watch this right now. So, Jason, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. My recommendation this week is the album Graceland by Paul Simon, which came out in 1986. Nice. Paul Simon, formerly of Simon and Garfunkel, had this solo album.
Yeah.
And so I grew up listening to this CD in the car. My dad listened to this a lot. And so I will still listening to it all the way through. I would know which song begins next. I know the intro to the song after because he listened to it, before there was mixes or anything like that.
Right.
So I knew it inside and out and could sing pretty much every song on there, and they're all great.
That's awesome.
The cool historical thing about this that I didn't know until later was that he recorded this apparently during apartheid, and he used South African instrumentals and musicians in it. He recorded it with South Africans, and so there's really interesting and unique vocals.
Yeah.
And instruments, and so it's just a completely different style blended with Paul Simon's kind of talk singing style.
Interesting.
You ever heard any of these songs?
No.
I will have to play
one. Is this
the
We Are the World type music?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. Well, it's like a meme song at this point. Were the Africans tuning their guitars really hard and making the strings pop and stuff?
Not during the recording.
No. The African rebels, the communist African rebels who were fighting in Rhodesia, the Rhodesian soldiers would, after completely decimating their army and losing no men themselves, would go and pick up the rifles that the rebels were using, and they would look at them and they couldn't figure out why, but on the AK there's a little I don't know what it is, but it's a thing that pops up on the iron sights.
Okay.
So that you can angle it. So it's if it's 100 meters away, pull the gun up this much.
Oh, gotcha.
And then fire it, so it like
kind of a
lines
rangefinder.
up. Yeah, rangefinder.
To account for the.
Yeah, we'll call it a rangefinder. Everyone will know what I'm talking about because everyone else is smart and I'm retarded.
And then Tannen and Chase will correct us.
Yeah, they'll correct us. Make it was not for rangefinding. It was for whatever. That was my impersonation.
Well, I probably just got the
neither
term.
of them. Yeah,
they don't sound like that.
Neither of them sound like that.
That's just daring them to talk up now.
Yeah, that is true.
Anyways,
they found these things and they were all up. Like they would all be up or whatever. Like, and they would all be like up, like really high on the thing or whatever. And they couldn't figure it out until they captured a few of them, whatever, and asked them. And the Africans were doing it because they thought it made the gun shoot harder.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. That's what happens when you take guys who were killing each other with leg bones 80 years ago and then give them firearms.
Without training.
Yeah, without training.
I mean, yeah, if you just pick it up and...
I don't know, even with training.
If
they've had a lot of training.
If there's numbers on it, you're like, obviously this is philosophy.
Have you seen the like modern African armies doing their like military parades?
No.
Bro, it's so good. It's so funny. It's like supposed to be like an official military. Like it's really it's the military.
It is the military.
And they're like walking down the street and they've got like like cool like neo sunglasses on, and like crazy hats, like military, like they look like Napoleon, like hats on, and then there's so
much
many
bling.
so many bullets, like all of them. They look like blast toys. They're just like covered in bullets, and like there's so many straps of bullets, and they're walking around like all cool and doing like dances and stuff, like doing the Dougie. Yeah. It's crazy, dude.
This
crazy.
Explains a lot about rap culture.
Yeah, it does. It's native.
What with the chains and everything.
Yes.
Posturing.
Yeah. Yeah. So my recommendation.
Well, okay, that was it.
Oh yeah, were you done?
I think so. Yeah,
okay.
No, just
Sorry.
Really neat CD.
Yeah, good.
I shouldn't say CD, album, I guess, because you would get it digitally now.
Yes. Well,
I
would. Yeah, unless you. Yeah.
I still have the CD.
Yeah, I know you do.
Your recommendation
is Ocean's 11. Now this is kind of cheating because it's not that old, but I think it's in the like Goldilocks zone of being old enough that people don't think about it like as a classic. Like we should talk about this movie. But
you watch it, and the film quality is definitely not what it is today.
Well, I think it's shot on film. The first one.
Is it really?
I think so.
Oh, that why the feel. Okay.
Yeah,
because I watched it in the last year or so.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is definitely not like the movies of today.
Right.
A different look to it.
Yeah. I think it's on film.
Okay.
I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I think it's on film. I mean, it looks like it's on film.
All right.
So
cool.
I'm just gonna say it. We talked about last episode. There's no real information anymore. Any information anymore. None of you have a microphone to disagree with me right now. You have to just yell into your car's radio. So I'm gonna just say it was shot on film. Or comment. Or you could comment.
We want your interaction.
Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah, Ocean's 11, obviously. I mean, if you know what it is, then it's great. But if not, if you're a youngin' or you're just somebody who just lives under a rock, Ocean's 11 is very good. It's Brad Pitt and what is his name?
Matt Damon and George Clooney.
George Clooney, that's right. It's Brad Pitt and George Clooney's movie.
Those are the two main guys.
Yeah, I think it's like their movie. Like they made the Danny Ocean. Like they wrote that character and
Did
stuff.
they? Okay.
I think so. I think that's how it goes. I guess I should have looked this up before I started talking about the movie, but it's very good, very clever. No sex, no like it's not vulgar at all. There's no like the moment where Julia Roberts comes down and it's like, oh, she's stunning and beautiful. She's dressed
in a classy.
She's dressed in a very nice dress.
Coming from a nice hotel.
Yeah, and it's all there's none of it. It's just a nice
classic elegance.
Yeah, man. You can watch it with the kids. You can watch it. I mean, they're not going to get it, but you could watch it with them. You could watch it with your young sons.
There might be some language to it.
Okay. Really? Are you sure?
There's a really funny bit in the second one, Ocean's 12, where the demolition guy.
Yeah.
He and the other guy, they're in a recording studio, and the phone is ringing every time one of them says a swear word. So,
yeah.
Very
good. Yeah. You got to edit it in there. It's got to be in there. If you want the song to be this way, it's got to be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason I remember that is because I just watched all three movies like in 2 days. Yeah. Sitting in a hotel room in Houston. That That's it, dude. That's my rec.
Okay, perfect.
Ocean's 11. I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch it tonight.
All right.
That sounds sick. Topic for today. Beating women. I'm just kidding. That's a Sam Hyde joke. The topic for today is not beating women.
Yes, not beating women.
Not beating women. The topic actually probably could explicitly said how not to beat women.
There you go.
Yeah. Even though you might want to.
There's a lot of steps that you missed if you get to the point of being so angry that you beat a woman.
Now that you're on Instagram, have you seen the video of the podcast episode of, I don't know what the podcast is, but it's these black guys sitting in a room. They're with a woman, and she's like, I think hitting is like abuse. It's not good. You shouldn't do it. And one of the older black guys goes, well, and all the other black guys start laughing, and she's like, what? Well, what? And he goes, listen, I agree with you. Let's just not hit each other. Let's not hit each other. Let's not touch each other. That's what's best. And she goes, right, thank you. And he goes, now, if we in a fight and you say something mean and I tell you to stop talking, I say shut up, do you think it's wise for you to keep talking? That's the joke. It's a very good clip.
There it is.
I think hitting is abuse. It's not good. We shouldn't do it. Well, just very good. Well, you think it's wise for you to keep talking? Very good. Very heavy black guy New York accent, which is one of the funniest on the planet. Those guys can say anything and it's funny. Very funny. Which is, I should start talking in a black guy New York accent so that everything I say is funny.
Well,
I've had too much nicotine again.
Whoops.
I did it. I'm all shaky. Guys, okay, we'll get serious here. We'll get serious.
We are known for nothing else on this podcast.
Yeah, for being deadly serious at all times. We've talked about, we've not ad nauseum, but we've talked about how a young man might go around courting a woman. Mm-hmm. He might go about investing in her and building a relationship with her, and what we think you ought to do with that relationship as far as getting married goes and having kids. We've talked about that a lot, but one of the things that I think Jason and I both want to talk about today is, what do you do with that girl when you're married? You've got a relationship. What now? You did it. You followed our advice. You won. You got a sweet angel to protect, a wonderful, beautiful, hot mommy to hang out with. What do you do? You don't hit them. All right. That's step one.
Step one.
Don't hit
no
them.
Hitting.
No hitting them.
Just so we're clear.
Which should be pretty easy, by the way. That should be step one. Should be.
If it's not,
if it's
see
not,
a counselor.
Yeah, see a counselor. Shoot us an email. We can hang out.
Yeah.
Clearly you got some stuff to talk through. We can do it. Just for the record, I want everyone to know the official workhard stance is that you can't hit women.
Correct.
Okay, that's everybody knows.
It's in our bylaws.
Okay, it is in our bylaws. Now, the second thing everybody needs to be aware of is that Jason is the straight man on this podcast. So
I believe that's also in our bylaws.
That's also in our bylaws
because I wrote them.
Yes. So just let Jason be our North Star here, because I might say something off the cuff. I'm trying to be funny, I promise.
And I'll go, well.
Yeah, well, dial that one back. Girls. So girls, I think a good way to start. Now, I'll again make this caveat. Jason and I are big fans of ladies.
Oh, yes.
We're married to them. We like them. I have a daughter. Jason has 2 daughters. Big fans of ladies.
I have 3.
You have 3 daughters. That's true. Jeez, Louise. I was miscounting. Yeah. You know why I was thinking too? Because Abigail always prays. She always forgets to pray for your youngest. When she prays, when she goes through all of her friends.
It's the tragedy of that's the difficulty of being the youngest.
Yeah. Well, eventually when Abigail's conscious enough to remember, she calls Chase. Oh, I can't say it. I can't actually say it. Dang it. I can't tell you what she calls him. She just calls him his last name. She doesn't call him Mr.
That's funny.
She thinks his name is his last name.
That's very funny.
Yeah. But we're fans of women, all right? So we're not being derogatory. We're just Jason will obviously, as he is, will be nuanced and helpful in actually communicating the ideas that we're trying to communicate here. I am going to be a stupid caveman like I normally am. So just take that into consideration here. As I often ask when we talk about things that might be controversial, please extend to me, your best. What I'm operating in good faith, I promise.
I think that's a long enough caveat.
Yeah, good. Okay. All right. Sorry, I just get self-conscious. Now, what I was going to say is these... No, I'm just kidding.
Where's my pen? We're at minute 25.
Yeah, got it.
25.
Now you got 2. Now you have to do
Times
2.
2.
Young women in particular. Jason and I both have been married to young women. We've been young men. Now, young men have their own flaws. We're not talking about those today. We've talked about them plenty before. We're not talking about them today, so I'm sorry. Young women have... young women they're not infallible. They need as much rearing and maturing as young men do. And I think one of the injustices of today that I think is unfair to women is that you have the Sally Mae, beat them up. The girl can do anything. Every girl is cool in all media. She's always whatever. Mm-hmm. And you have all this emphasis, especially in the church, like young men be like, listen, you got to grow up. You got to stop doing this and that, whatever. You got to be serious. And I feel like there's very little corrective information for young women. And
that's to say, you think there is some at all?
Yeah, exactly. Right. How dare I? There's very little corrective information for young women. And I think that that's distressing. I think women don't know how to conduct themselves. Largely, young women don't know how to conduct themselves in relationships and in marriages. And it creates a cognitive dissonance. And so we're going to try to help offer some of that through the perspective of how you as a young man can handle your wife's inevitable misgivings and her own fallen state.
Yes, I mean, in the curse, it's very obvious what women were cursed with.
Right.
And it was a desire for their husband, but the husband will rule over them.
Right.
So the desire is that they will usurp the power in the relationship.
Yeah.
And they will try to control things, and they'll do this largely through emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's actually cognitive that they're doing that.
Yes. Yeah, and one of the things here's one of the things that I think is kind of a funny little anecdote. The other day, a couple weeks ago, my daughter was crying. She wanted something. She was crying because I wasn't giving it to her, and I said, "Abigail, I'm not. I might think about giving this to you if you stop crying." And Emily walked over and was rubbing her head and just kind of jokingly said, "Baby, you're going to have to get another strategy. Female tears do not work on your father." She's like, "I've tried. It doesn't work." And that is how you have to be. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to be cruel to your wife.
Yeah, that does not mean heartless.
Yeah. You need to, at all times. It does not
mean being comforting. It doesn't mean don't be comforting when they're genuinely sad. We're talking about something different.
Right. You need to be gentle and firm, never cruel. Never cruel. But there have been many, many times. There's also been many times where I've gone off the handle and said things that are extremely inappropriate and been very angry with my wife and had to repent and apologize and come to her and say I was out of course. But there have also been
here.
Yeah, of course. There's also been many times where my wife has done something that needed to be addressed, and I addressed it, and it made her cry, and you can't back down.
No, you can't back off and go,
I didn't
I'm
mean
sorry.
it.
I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
I should have been more gentle. Maybe you could have been more gentle.
That's
the difficulty is that you will feel, young men, and maybe older men too, you will feel like you did something wrong because she's crying now.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't inherently mean, hear me clearly, because you made your wife cry, that does not inherently mean that you did something wrong.
Yeah.
Are we clear, everyone listening?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes your wife is wrong for crying. Shocking.
It also could, well, possibly that, or it also could be genuine, like, grief over her sin.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And so I think the idea here is that my mom hit me with something the other day and I kind of hit her back a little bit, and I immediately got mad, like super spun out. So I was like, all right, I give up. She was talking about, my wife and I were going back and forth about something, and she was like, you need to be, she feels emotional and neurotic, like, for a reason. She's a young woman that feels neurotic for a reason. Like, you need to validate that and whatever. And I was like, okay, you would never say that about a young man's anger. Ever. No one would ever, if I started throwing stuff,
it needs to be validated. He's angry. Well, he's a young man. He's got to take control of the situation. He needs to be that angry. He needs whatever. No, he would never say that. So when you have a woman who is racked with the anxiety that women get racked with, and you offer gentle correction, and her reaction is negative, you shouldn't be like, oh yeah, that's very worldly to be like, oh, she's a girl. Like, this is her. She should feel this way. Yeah, justified in doing so.
Yeah, she's justified in doing so. The kind of the thrust, I think, of this entire this episode is that women are going to have their own emotional battles, and sometimes they're going to be removed from you. They're not going to really have anything to do with you, and you're going to have to help them through that. But there's also going to be times where they're going to henpeck you, and you're going to have to correct that as well. One of the things that I think is here's how we can make this practical. One of the number one pieces of advice you will always get as a young man. People are so happy to say this. They're like chomping at the bit at the wedding to say this, which is, now, son, don't try to fix it. You need to listen to her. Don't try to fix it. Okay? Now, you do need to make your wife feel supported and heard.
Yeah, let's say there's a two-phase approach to this.
Exactly. There's a two-phase approach. You need to make your wife feel supported and heard.
First phase is not fixing.
Right, is not fixing. The first is to hear and console.
And comfort, yes.
And comfort.
Uh-huh.
But
absolutely. But you don't stop there.
That is a ticket that everyone writes women to wallow in their own emotions. Mm-hmm. And just there's a video online that's very funny.
That's the toxic empathy.
Yes, exactly. Toxic empathy. Yeah. There's a video online that's very funny, and it opens up, it's shot. So the shot is behind the girl. There's a guy and a girl sitting on a couch, and the shot opens up from behind her over her shoulder. Mm-hmm. And she's looking at her husband, and she's going, I just have this pressure, and it's all around me, and it just, sometimes I can feel it. It's so heavy. I can physically feel it just right here in my head. It's right in my head. And the angle kind of goes down to the bottom half of her face, and she's like, and it's just so overwhelming, and I don't know and I don't know what to do. And then it pans over to the guy's face, and he's looking kind of inquisitively at her, and he goes, well, it could be you have a nail in your forehead. And then it pans over, and she's got a nail sticking out of her head. And she gets all offended, and it's like, this is not about the nail. And she's like, you were just trying to fix it. You are not listening to me, which is, listen. And he goes, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm just saying, you do have a nail in your forehead. Like, this is a very practical example of what I'm talking about. There doesn't really seem to be anybody, no older women, nobody talks about this. Nobody's willing to offer this corrective, gentle correction to women, which is, lady, listen, we get it. You're upset. You're allowed to be upset. You're a woman. You're going to feel that way. it is your husband's job to help you mellow out and stay even.
Mm-hmm.
But it is also his job to fix it.
Yeah.
So at some point, like pretty quick, you're going to have to fix it.
Yeah.
You don't get to just be mad about it or upset. I can't believe she said that to me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like at some point, it's got to be fixed. So young men, there's a great practical example. You got to fix it, bro. Have a long conversation. Sit down for an hour on the couch.
It's going to take hours.
Yeah. And rub her shoulders and say, baby, I know, I'm so sorry. I can't believe she said that. That's so mean. I can't believe, whatever. Oh, you're right. The house isn't, I know how overwhelmed you are, whatever,
Yep.
blah, blah, blah. But it's like,
some words of appreciation for the work she does
Yeah,
are also
absolutely.
helpful
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
With the
you're doing
house
a great-
messiness thing.
yeah, everybody's house is messy, babe. It's all right.
And
We have a
remind
family.
her- yeah, well, one thing, to remind them of the workload they're dealing with
Right. Yeah.
is helpful.
Yeah.
And reminding them that there are priorities that are greater than keeping the floor swept.
Yeah. I don't remember what this story is from. I don't remember who, but it's, you look it up. But it's a story of a, like, I think like a relatively famous guy, and he's playing in the front yard with his sons, and they're like destroying the yard.
Yeah.
They're like throwing each other around and whatever, and they're tearing up the grass. And the wife comes out. She's all bothered, and she's like, "You're destroying the grass." And he just holds up his hand to be like, "Silence, woman." Which is something. Here, well, even smaller little rabbit hole. My wife just was expressing how much she appreciates the fact that I hold up my hand to get her to be quiet.
Just pause.
Yeah, because she's like, it's a very visceral. Like there's no like, what do I need to do right now? It's just like immediate. I know I need to stop talking.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, got it. There's no question here. Got
Yeah.
it. So she's like, it helps me not have to guess or worry. Like it's just like I'm trying to help. I think I'm trying to help you think through something, and well, it could be brown, and like I don't know, taupe is nice on this color, and it's like mahogany, whatever. And I go hand up, and she goes, oh, okay, stop talking.
I'm going to recenter this conversation.
Yeah. So never, guys. I honestly, dude, the hand very helpful in my marriage. So just a little bit of feedback there, but
Yeah, it's just a visual cue that we're going to reset.
yeah, just
And
hand
you're
up.
you're going down a rabbit hole right now of emotion about something, and you don't understand the full picture.
Yeah,
Just hold on a second.
Hold.
Just we will talk about
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but not like this.
right.
Yeah, the hand holding up is not a shut up. I don't want to hear from you ever again.
Yeah. But it is a silence, woman. It
Yeah.
is. That is what that is.
Be still.
Yeah, be still. But so she comes out and she goes, "You're tearing up the grass." Da 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 da. And he, woman, quit talking. And then he goes, "Honey, we are raising boys, not grass." and so my wife will get overloaded, and one of the things I say that helps her a lot when she gets overwhelmed, which happens to girls a lot, man, they get overwhelmed.
Yep.
She gets overwhelmed with the state of the house. Often I will say, "Baby, we are raising children, not a house.
Yeah.
It's not. We're raising a family, not
We're
a
not
house.
trying to get on the cover of Better Homes and Gardens.
Yeah, this is not an Instagram account. This is a family."
Yeah, you need to stop scrolling on it. Oh, that's another side point, is that social media is very bad
Very
for
bad.
especially young ladies,
Oh yeah, because they're
because it's all about image, and everything put online is the best image.
yeah.
People's vacation photos, they never take a picture of them having a sad time unless they're trying to get attention for it. It's all calculated.
Yeah, and women are a bit of a hive mind. All right, there's a very funny Twitter exchange that's very famous on Twitter, which is that a guy said, he said, "Listen, you don't have to worry about girls when you're not paying attention to them. They don't exist when you're not paying attention. Women literally don't exist when men aren't paying attention to them." And some girl came in and went, "What are you talking about? Who said?" And he goes, "My point exactly. See, you can't even think for yourself. You have to immediately outsource that to the hive mind. Who said?" Like you're appealing to some authority. Like you're immediately going, "Who said that?" So women do have that. Obviously, women do exist. They are independent individuals, but they do have a little bit of a hive mind, and they can get nuked by social media. Another practical example: I'm not kidding. I have taken my wife's phone and blocked Instagram, like blocked all of her social media for the day, and been like, "You can have this back in 24 hours," and handed her phone back, and be like, "Peace be with you. enjoy that. I'm taking away your rights to social media for today. You need to. You actually do need to clean, so I'm taking the. But I will, if my wife's spun out real bad, I will say to her, baby, chill out, whatever. We're raising kids, not a house. Raising a family, not a house. And so girls like that, so you reassure her. That's the point. That's the thing. That's the point we're ultimately trying to make, is that you reassure first. And you're gentle and kind and loving. You're a warm stone for her to grasp onto in a cold, cold storm. But then you do have to settle the storm, and that is on you to settle that storm. And so oftentimes I think, in my experience, many times a young woman is going to deal with getting overwhelmed a lot, especially when she just is starting to keep a home. She's going to get overwhelmed. And some of the best advice that seems to resonate with my wife the most is just pick something. Let's clean the table and clean it with her. Do the dishes with her.
Yeah.
Come alongside, lead, come along. Don't sit on the couch and scroll yourself.
And be like, well, I'll just pick something to clean, babe.
Yeah, it's fine. Just do the plates.
Just bring me another beer and then pick something. I don't care what.
Yeah. Which is I think this is a big point to make, which is that people often don't see this. They don't see either side of it, which is that a woman who trusts you will listen to you.
Yes.
She will listen to you. She will treat your word as law. But that trust, she has to know that you're going to prioritize her, that you're prioritizing the family. You're not just trying to go play video games. You're not trying to slack off and be Peter Pan and just be a kid forever. In order to have the authority to raise your hand and have your woman stop talking immediately, that's not earned through violence or aggression. That is earned through gentle, tender, firm care. That is what that's earned through.
Through your proper prioritization.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It is earned. You can raise your hand and have your wife stop talking by being there at home on Friday night.
Yeah.
By not having her think that your entire life is oriented around getting on the golf course or going to get beers with the boys.
Yeah.
Which is not to say you can't go get beers with the boys. Go,
Well, no, you're talking about total life orientation around
Right,
that.
right,
If you
right,
just
right.
can't wait to get away, that's a problem. You're being a bad leader.
Yeah, you are. So you have to earn
it's no
that.
wonder she's being a bad follower.
Right. It's no wonder. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Very well said.
What do you know? Sin begets more sin.
Yeah, who would have thought? But you are. Here's another thing. I used to tell people, and I think this is what I'm about to say is only half of the kind of image. But I used to talk all the time when I was younger and wasn't married and didn't quite understand what I was talking about. I would tell people that the Beauty and the Beast is a story about the woman taming the bestial, ravenous, dangerous nature of a man and turning it into a still threatening but honed, charming, powerful prince.
Right.
That's only half true. The full truth is that Beauty and the Beast is about a man loving a woman so much that he's so afraid to hurt her that he tames his own beast and turns himself into the powerful prince. But the driving sort of fuel that starts that process is her love.
Right.
And
that's the great exchange.
Yeah, and it's his decision to submit to his own, or to be vulnerable and expose himself to her through the kiss and them falling in love and his curse is dropped and all that stuff. And that is the exchange there, but it is an exchange, and there is another half, and so there's so much focus on the male half and so little focus on the female half. Like girls will okay, I'll tell this. This is I think this is fine to tell.
Here we go.
For my wife and I have been married for 5 years, And it's still like what I'm saying is this still happens. My wife has been married for 5 years. I've had insomnia most of my life. It's been way better in the past couple of years. And so I only get it in very acute episodes where it's like one night I won't be able to sleep. But it happened the other night. I actually texted you about it. And I was up all night. And so I just got up and went out to my office.
Yeah.
And I came in and sat down and was doing whatever. And it was like 4 a.m. and my wife woke up and texted me and said, "Where are you?"
Oh, no.
And I texted her back and I said, "The same place I've been every night at 4 a.m. for the last 5 years when you wake up. I'm in front of my computer. What do you mean?" But it was like a probing, like she didn't want to say, she wanted me to come in. She wanted me to come in. She didn't want to say, "I want you to come in." She wanted me to do it. And it's the emotional game, the chess match. And for years before that, before we had kids, I would often come in, we'd have date night, whatever, we'd hang out on a Friday night, and then she would go to bed and I would go out at like 10 to go play video games.
Okay.
And go play video games with my buddy from high school. And then I would come in at night at like, midnight, 1 a.m. or whatever. And she would, I knew what was happening. Like she was like, "No, it's just waking me up." But she would like kind of stir and then force herself awake to be like, "What are you doing?" Every Friday night for 5 years, like 3 years. "What are you doing?" And I'd go, and every Friday night for 3 years, I'd go, "What are you talking about?" "The same exact thing I did last week." "What do you mean?" And the thing that was happening was that she didn't want me to stay up till 2 a.m. She wanted me to be in bed and sleep next to her so that she knew where I was. She knew I was safe, so that she knew that she was safe, so that everything was safe and accounted for and where it should be. Yeah. That's what she wanted. And
now, my wife does not sleep well at all.
Yeah.
Unless I'm in bed.
Yeah. Big part of the reason why I can't keep my current job for more than a couple years, because I travel so much. And I let that go on too long. I did not correct that early enough, and it caused friction for us.
Yeah.
And finally I was like, you know what? I've been like, after listening to a lot of Doug Wilson, I was like, this is one of those things that I'm going to I have to correct. This is actually not a me problem. And so I I set us down totally separate from the occasion one day, which is key, by the way. Don't try to fix it in the moment.
Yeah, no, when the emotions are high.
Yeah, no, you got to talk about it separately. And this is another thing that guys will do. You're tired, you don't want to deal with it, whatever, so you never address it, you never bring it up. And so the only time you guys ever talk about it is when it's happening, which is a terrible time to talk about it.
Good point.
Yeah,
yes.
So talk about it separately and removed. So I set her down and I said, "All right, when I'm up late, what's wrong? What's going on?" And she's like, "Well, nothing. What are you talking about? It's not." And I was, "Babe, listen, let's pierce through all that. Drop the nothing. It's fine. Let's talk about it."
You know what FINE stands for?
What does FINE stand for?
Freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
There you go. Yeah, that's exactly what it stands for.
So here's a tip for you young married guys. If your wife says she's fine, that's what's going on. Nothing's fine.
Yeah, nothing's fine.
In case you were unaware, fine is not fine. Yeah,
but also, by the way, if she says it's fine, you have to proceed as if it's fine. Don't start going, "Oh, babe, what do you mean? It's not. I know it's not fine." Whatever. Just go, "Okay," and keep doing whatever it was you were doing. And then when it's over, again, removed, go, "I know you weren't fine there. You were obviously upset. I kept doing what I was doing, and you threw something at my head." So what's going on?
Maybe if you're in the middle of an emotional thing like that. Sometimes, though, she'll say she's fine, and things are going badly, and it's more. I'm equating it more to like putting the hand up and saying,
"Oh yes, yeah,
no, you're not fine," and greater harm is going to come because the tension in the household is palpable. If your wife is,
it's going to affect
quote
the
unquote
kids.
Fine.
Yeah.
It immediately, and this is we'll be married for 10 years soon.
Yeah.
And I'm finally figuring some of this stuff out. And like, oh, that's why I'm really tense. It's because when she's emotional about something, I've got to go and try and dig through that now because it's not going to get fixed and it's going to affect the entire day.
Yeah.
And then I find myself immediately getting more irritable with the children and whatnot.
Yep.
And so I go and cut the head off that hydra, right? Well, that's not a good illustration because more would grow back.
Right.
But whatever. I go
Sometimes
deal with
it does feel like a hydra, but yeah, yes.
Sometimes, but that
You
just
cut the
means
head off the snake quick.
Sure, but yeah, so yes. And the times I've done that more recently, she's been very grateful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it snaps her out of it. And she goes, "You're right." Okay. And you reprioritize her. You reprioritize things and say, "This is what's important right now." Or like, I'll say, "What all is bothering you? What's on your mind?"
Yeah.
And if it's just that you're emotionally sad about something that's legitimate, that's fine. But if it's the kind of fine where you're being irritable with me or the children, we need to fix that now.
Yeah.
Dead halt to everything. I don't care what else is going on. We're fixing this now because we're all going to have a miserable day.
Yeah.
We can't have a household like this.
Right.
And I hesitate to say that. I really don't want my wife to think I'm throwing her under the bus. I think this is just a widespread problem.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, I love you, babe.
Yes.
And I appreciate very much that you respond well to that. And I will say, my goodness.
Let Jason and I take a second to acknowledge the maturity and profound emotional intelligence of our wives. Most girls do not respond.
No, and it takes work to get through that. One, it's taken me a long time to figure that out and how to deal with it. And so you, young married man listening to this, we hope that you will not take 5-10 years to figure this out in your marriage.
Yeah, and then you're having to do therapy later on to not get a divorce.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, and a great appreciation to our wives for not being too upset with us for sharing some of these stories.
Yeah.
Or general principles, we'll say. I'm not sharing super particulars, but my wife is experiencing a far greater emotional security than she did 3 years ago, and greater than that than 5 years ago and 7 years ago. It's continued to improve, and our relationship and our ability to just talk about stuff without all those walls that women throw up.
Yeah.
Because it used to take way longer. It would take me forever to try and dig through stuff. And she wouldn't want to admit or dig into or didn't. Or actually, a lot of women just don't know. And I guess this goes for young men too. You don't always know why you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And especially if you've got a bunch of things to do, you're just plowing on ahead because you're like, I've got so much stuff to get done. And sometimes you need to take a step back and realize you cannot possibly get all those things done. You have to prioritize and you have to let those other things go and make the cognitive decision, make yourself aware that that's not getting done, and that's just the way it's going to be. God gave you 24 hours in a day. You can't possibly stretch it to 25.
Yeah.
You've got to say 1 and 2 are important, and 3, 4, and 5 we're going to have to let go. There's no way we're doing it today. It'll just have to be undone. Those clothes will have to remain unwashed. This floor is going to be unswept. There's going to be some dishes in the sink. Whatever it is, it's got to wait.
Yeah, it's got to wait.
But the most important thing is that we live in, peace and loving kindness with each other. Yeah. And that's not happening while we're being snippy with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
It's only going to snowball, and someone's going to say something regrettable.
Yep.
Or there's going to be a hole in the drywall.
There's going to be a hole in the drywall.
And then it's all your fault at that point.
It is. It is definitely all your fault, yeah.
Yeah, so young men, if you let yourself get to that point,
yep,
you have failed to recognize multiple warning signs of the bridge being out, and you just drove straight over the cliff.
Fool that you are.
Normal man that you are, probably.
Yeah.
Which is a fool.
Yeah, which is a fool, yeah.
So, anyway.
I'll finish that story I was just telling because I want to make sure that, whatever, I'll finish it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's all good. We sat down separately, and for the occasion I said, "Babe, what's going on? Whatever, it's fine." And I said, "It's not fine. Don't do that. Please. Let's skip that part and just tell me what's going on." And we just, we talked about it, and the solution to the problem, and this is what we're talking about, this like management thing. It's not just going, well, you need to stop being that way, right? As a man, it's not. You're a leader. So that is the
modern solution, though. You just need to stop doing the things that upset her.
Right. And then she needs to stop. So the thing that I asked her is, what? Now you've told me how you feel and these things that are going on. what can I do? What activity, what thing do you need from me during the week that's going to make you feel secure in our, because that's what it was coming from. It was basically like, do you, like,
Gotcha.
you don't love me.
Right. Yeah.
And I got, I stand, you can say, babe, I love you very much. You're my wife. I chose to marry you. I'm so glad that we're married, whatever, all that. But that's all great. But the question that I had for her was, what can I do removed from Friday night? Because I work all week and then I come in and I'm with you and you're at that point, she was a stay-at-home wife.
Yeah.
Not a mom. And so there was large swaths of her day where she was just kind of chilling.
Right.
And I was like, you're chilling a lot. And I'm not ever chilling. And I have like 3 or 4 hours on a Friday night where I kind of
decompress.
Yeah, I act a fool. I drink beers and I talk crap to my friends and we play video games. So that's got to happen. All right, that can't leave. So what needs to happen during the week so that can happen without you feeling insecure about our marriage? And I don't remember what our solution was, but it was something.
You found it.
We found it, and it stopped. It stopped. She stopped waking up. She'd kind of stir when I'd come in, whatever, and then just go back to sleep. She wouldn't rip herself from her dreams to be like, what are you doing? Like trying to henpeck me, and that was a big, I think that was a really big turning point in our marriage because we weren't newlyweds, so we only been married for a couple of years. And it was a real realization to me about how much power I had in our relationship, really, and how much of her behavior was actually my responsibility. And it was a real wake-up moment where I was like, oh, every time she's upset, it really isn't my job to terraform the planet around her so that it doesn't make her upset. In some cases it is, but in many cases, it's my job to come in and offer very gentle, slow correction to go, you are, I love you. You're amazing. You're beautiful, supple, wonderful. I love you. But you're wrong. You got to stop. And that is often what is going to be the case. And you can't let female tears penetrate that. And you can't let modernity change your mind about that. You need to be honest with yourself and go, is this hunting trip I'm about to take with my boys actually inappropriate, or does she just not want me to go?
Yeah.
And you need to evaluate that honestly. And if you won't evaluate that honestly, then you guys will stay in that conflict until you are dead or get divorced. You will stay in that conflict.
Yep.
You'll want to go on a hunting trip. She'll be pissed off. You'll either go or won't go. Either way, one of you is mad, or both of you. You're on the hunting trip, and then you're
just peeved the whole time.
Yeah, you're mad. And then you get in the hell trap of complaining about your wife to your friends, which is marital suicide. And absurd and insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, which bothers me so much, dude. That's one of these things.
Guys complaining about their wives.
Dude, complaining about their wives, complaining about their kids. Like we're sitting at work now. We talked about the normie thing a couple episodes ago. One of the normie things that I can't. It's like acid. Somebody's like, would you like to smell this bottle of acid? Like, that's what these conversations are like sometimes. We're at the bar and like, this stupid, dumb. I'm not going to say it. I almost said it. I don't like my wife. The kid that I was with in Houston thought it was funny. He's like, yeah, the guy's great, dude. He's such a cool dude. Yeah, hates his kids, and was like listing that as one of the reasons why he was a cool guy.
One of your big personality traits.
Yeah, why'd you get married? Why'd you have the kids? Which is here we go, another little thing. We'll wrap this up soon. Another last little thing. In my experience, sometimes women can have a hard time dealing with the reality of the things that they want. And so I know somebody who had kids. They're on their first kid, and their first kid struggled a lot with sleep. And the wife this is just, insight that I've gotten. The wife would wake up in a huff, livid, every time the kid woke up at night. Just be like, and get up and be all angry and stuff. And the husband had a really hard time being like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And my assistance to him was, she needs to not be angry. And so I said, just go to her and ask her, what do you want? Do you want the kid or not? Because having the kid means the kid's
Getting up at night.
It means getting up at night, and you get up happy. Your head pops off that pillow, ready to go. That's what it is. You don't get to just have I hate the joke that I always hear, like, oh, they're so sweet when they're sleeping. Dude, walk off a bridge, stand in front of a car. Don't care what you got to do. Get away from me. Don't bring that around me. You can't have the sweetness and the fun of a kid without having the throw up and the waking up at night and all the things you don't like. Think of, if you're doing the part that you don't like and it's making you mad, think about the part that you do like while you're doing it.
Yep.
So
also remember that you were also that kid.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So getting all
and you don't want their memories of you. Every time I woke up, my dad stormed into the room, slammed the door open. I was like, "What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What now?"
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You don't want that. And so
no,
it's just
I've had many times when I got up and was frustrated at the kid for just being up.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll be half asleep, and it's really frustrating when they won't talk and tell me what's up.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong?
Why? I'm so tired. I have to work tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. So listen, there's girls really do struggle with their controlling their own emotions. And as a young guy, you're gonna know more about doing that than she is. And you're going to learn a lot more about it than she's going to learn over the first few years of your marriage and the first few years that you have kids. And it is your job to teach her and help her understand how to regulate herself and how to be honest enough with herself to stop trying to manipulate. Speaking of which, what's that? Yes. Okay, hold on.
Prime example.
What? Where are you? Come here. Come here. Come in here. Come in here. Say hello to Mr. Goodman.
Hi, Abigail. What's up? That cool air feels good.
Yep, right. All right, guys. I think this is a good marker to end it. Abigail, would you like to be a guest on our podcast? Okay, you got to say to all the people. You got to talk into the microphone and say, "Get married." No. You don't want to say anything.
Can you say "go to church"?
You say, "Go to church." No. Okay. Say hello. No. Say, "I love you." Okay, guys, we love you dearly. We are praying for you. Please take care of your women in a real way, not in a fake modern way.
No.
Get married.
That's not actually taking care of them.
Yeah, it is not. Have kids, little kids with red hair. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.